Very good morning to our listeners. Hope you all had a fantastic weekend. A quick look ahead in terms of the trading week, and Greece very much so remains the key and dominant theme here. So in terms of talks today, the Greek Premier Tsipras will be meeting with the German Chancellor Merkel, as following on from the summit last week, they look to flesh out details and talks in order for Greece to receive their next tranche, of which is desperately needed for the country in order to manage its finances. In terms of a timeline, most analysts are already of the knowledge that the fact that Greece has enough money to see them through the rest of the month of March. However, come April, the situation does change quite drastically, and if weekend press is to be believed, April 9th, the situation of Greek finances then becomes at a critical point. No doubt then the first week of April, and as we get closer towards that deadline, then the idea of a potential Grexit, whether purposefully or by accident, will likely become a more prominent theme. Looking elsewhere in terms of the UK markets, focus this week on inflation. We'll get the release of UK CPI on Tuesday. Now, surveyed analysts are looking out for a number of 0.1%. However, weekend press such as the Sunday Times in the UK were suggesting inflation could come down to zero, and the threat of deflation for the first time in the country for 50 years, as oil prices and energy continue to be a real headwind for inflation in the country. With all this being in mind then, we did, as we saw last week, continue to see further flattening of the UK curve and some slight weakening of the sterling currency, that in tandem of course with those Haldane comments we had at the latter half of last week suggested that rates could go lower, or we could get more expansionary policy going forward. Then finally, just taking a look at crude oil prices, just be mindful we have had Saudi Arabia, which is the biggest OPEC producing nation by capacity. They have said over the weekend they'll continue to pump oil at record levels. This of course follows on from Kuwait in the latter half of last week, who said that they'll roll over their decision in the forthcoming OPEC meeting due this summer. But that pretty much concludes the week in focus for me for now, but we'll have other updates to come, and I wish you all a great trading week. Thank you.